Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India and Australia to further boost comprehensive strategic partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese to hold bilateral talks in New Delhi on Friday. Sri Lanka's Foreign Affairs Minister Ali Sabri says India and Sri Lanka working on improving cooperation in connectivity, tourism and investments. Nisar, the largest ever advanced radar system jointly developed by NASA and ISRO, reaches Bengaluru. Senior Nepali Congress leader Ramchandra Paudal elected as new president of Nepal. South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol to visit Japan for summit, first such visit in 12 years. Malaysia's former Prime Minister Mohyuddin arrested on corruption charges. And Australia scored 255 for 4 wickets at stumps on day 1 in the first innings against India in the fourth and final test of Border Gavaskar Cricket Trophy in Ahmedabad. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will hold bilateral talks in New Delhi on Friday. The two leaders are expected to discuss various gamut of issues to further boost the comprehensive strategic partnership between their nations. Besides, both the leaders are also expected to hold talks on trade, investment, defence, education and renewable energy. More from our correspondent.
Share warm and friendly relations. The strategic partnership between the two countries was elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2020. Last year, both the countries had signed a free trade agreement called the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. The bilateral trades between the two countries amounts to nearly $27 billion in 2021-22. The bilateral trade is expected to cross $45 to $50 billion by 2035. The meeting carries significant weight in the context of Quad, as the two prime ministers are expected to discuss the ongoing efforts of the Quad in the Indo-Pacific region. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
On Thursday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese inaugurated the Friendship Hall of Fame in Ahmedabad, which showcases the rich history of India-Australia cricket contest. Both the leaders handed over test caps to their respective test captains and cheered the players. The event was organised to commemorate 75 years of cricket friendship this year. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is on a 4-day visit to India. During his stay in Delhi, Mr. Albanese will also meet President Draupadi Murmu and Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday held a telephonic conversation with his Australian counterpart Richard Marles. Both the ministers reaffirmed their commitment towards further strengthening the bilateral defence relationship. The Defence Ministry stated that the conversation was reflective of the trust and friendship between both the countries, especially in matters related to defence and security. Sri Lanka's Foreign Affairs Minister MUM Ali Sabri has said that Sri Lanka and India look forward to more cooperation in several sectors. In an exclusive interview with All India Radio, the minister said that the two countries are working on improving cooperation in connectivity, tourism and investments.
We have with us the Sri Lanka's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. MUM Ali Sabri. Sir, we are grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. Mr. Sabri, you are back from India just after participating in the Raisina dialogue. Overall, how were your engagements during the visit, both the dialogue as well as the other meetings?
Thank you very much for talking to me. It was a very good visit as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. We had very good engagement at the Raisina dialogue. It itself was very well organized. We had diverse views were expressed there. It actually helped us to expand our paradigms and looking at new opportunities. It gave a clear view of where India is proceeding and the opportunities for India and the world and the region. So I'm thankful for that. And on the bilateral, we had a very discussions and debates as to how we should proceed with it.
Okay. Mr. Sabri, this was your second bilateral meeting with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar as well in a span of less than 2 months. What were the central ideas of the discussion in this meeting? Could you elaborate?
Yes, I was very pleased to meet Dr. Jaishankar once again. He's a great supporter of Sri Lanka's recovery along with Madam Sitaraman. So, with of course the blessings of Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. The discussions were centered around primarily as to how India could help Sri Lanka's recovery at the IMF level, at the restructuring level, and in terms of supporting through investment and more tourists to the country. And of course, we also discussed the bilateral relationship and how to enhance it, how to integrate and how to follow that up. So in that sense, I thought we had a very good discussion as to how we operationalize some of the concepts we have had in our mind for a long period of time.
Okay, that's wonderful. Meanwhile, you recently had also remarked that you hope Sri Lanka to receive more investments from India in the future. As such, West Container Terminal project, it has been the biggest foreign investment project in Sri Lanka in recent times. What has been the progress in this regard?
The progress has been quite good. Actually, Colombo Port necessarily require repeat extensions and expansion. 60 to 70% of the transshipment from Colombo Port is linked with India. So, in view of that, some time ago, there was a trilateral memorandum of cooperation among the government of Sri Lanka, India and Japan for the development of the East Container Terminal. Subsequently, in early 2021, Sri Lanka decided to develop ECT, that is the Eastern Terminal, on its own. And thereafter we decided that we can invite the Japan and India to participate on the Western Terminal development. But Japan did not participate. And thereafter, Adanis on their own showed certain interest in the development of the ports in Sri Lanka. But I think they are good at it and they have developed in so many ports, both India and in the world. So for the WCT, that is the West Container Terminal, Adanis was chosen as a Sri Lankan partner. The investor and the government of Sri Lanka negotiated the necessary agreement in this regard. Actually, other than the fact that because it was initially discussed as a trilateral development with India and Japan and Sri Lanka participating, Indian government had no role in that. WCT is an internal to Sri Lanka. The project is progressing well according to estimates by implementing project. Its phase 1 is, I think, scheduled to be made operational by 2024. So all good as far as Sri Lanka is concerned and the project is concerned.
That's wonderful to hear. Meanwhile, the use of Indian national rupees for settling economic transactions between India and Sri Lanka, it's likely to enable ease of doing business. In addition, what are the other measures that both governments are looking at in order to pave way for stronger economic partnership?
There are a number of initiatives we are looking at. We are looking at connecting people to people, connectivity to be improved in terms of more flights, more ferry services and linkages between the people to people. That will probably help us, the tourism and the other areas of collaboration. And many more investment probably in the industry, technology transfer and IT and things like that. So there are a lot of opportunities on the pipeline. We are hopeful that we can materialize it as we go along.
Thank you very much to talk to us and describe all these developments that have happened in the recent past. Thank you very much, sir. We're grateful.
Thank you very much.
In some more news, India's Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Minister Dharmendra Pradhan on Thursday held a meeting with the US Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo for forging stronger linkages between both the countries in the skilling sector. Mr. Pradhan stressed that skills and competencies have become more important than degrees in today's times. He also informed that both the leaders agreed to strengthen institutional mechanisms for making the Indian skill ecosystem more vibrant for building the workforce of the future. In the meeting, discussions were held on creating lifelong learning opportunities on a large scale and deepening collaborations in 3 Ls, that is, skilling, startups, and small and medium enterprises. Both the leaders agreed that the size of India's workforce and the size of opportunities in critical and emerging technologies in the US can be aligned for mutual benefit. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Welcome back. The Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, received the NISA satellite from the US Space Agency in Bengaluru on Wednesday. NISA is a low Earth orbit observatory jointly developed by NASA and ISRO. A US Air Force C-17 cargo plane carried the payload to Bengaluru. The payload, jointly developed by NASA and ISRO, will be integrated with the Earth observation satellite in UR Rao Satellite Center in Bengaluru and undergo various tests. The space mission is part of India-US civil space collaboration. NISA, with the largest ever radar antenna, 12 meters long drum-shaped, wire mesh reflector extended from a 30-feet boom, is the most advanced radar system that will study natural hazards, melting sea ice and groundwater supply. The GSLV Mark II launch vehicle of ISRO will launch the Earth observation satellite from its launch pad in Sriharikota early next year. A group of 200 Buddhist monks and delegates from South Korea offered special prayers at Mahaparinirvan Temple at Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh and wished for world peace on Thursday. The delegation reached Kushinagar on foot from Bodh Gaya. The pilgrimage is marking 50 years of diplomatic relations and collaboration between India and South Korea. AIR correspondent reports that as a guest of the Government of India, the delegation performed a special puja along with a tour of the places associated with the life of Lord Buddha. The delegation includes 111 VIPs and 89 people as staff. After offering prayers at the Mahaparinirvan Temple in Kushinagar and the place of Mahaparinirvan, the delegation will leave for Lumbini in Nepal on the 11th of March. During this period, proper security arrangements have been made for them. South Korean monks will travel 1100 kilometers on foot over a period of 43 days as part of a walking pilgrimage organized by the Sangbo Society of South Korea. The delegation will cover Buddhist holy sites in India and Nepal. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal exhorted the industry to bring proposals for joint research projects, come up with new innovations and capture new markets. He was addressing the Export Awards function organized by the Synthetic and Rayon Textiles Export Promotion Council in Mumbai on Thursday. He asked the industry to take benefit from National Technical Textiles Mission and to take the industry forward with faster growth. He also called for Leverage Samarth scheme for upgrading the skill levels in the industry. The minister said that it is the need of the hour to study each free trade agreement and understand the requirements of other countries better. He exhorted export promotion councils to open offices in other countries as well, such as in locations like Dubai. The minister asked the industry to give special attention to quality. He further said that it's time for us to ensure that quality of Indian products is the best in the world. He said that the time for coming out with two different types of quality, domestic quality and export quality, is over. The minister informed that 2,000 products will soon come under quality control, adding that industry needs to stop using low-quality products. He added that we need to increase our scale, focus on quality. The minister asked the industry to guide the government on products on which quality control orders need to be issued. He invited them to participate actively in consultations to ensure the right quality of products. Indian Navy's major operational level exercise, TROPEX 2023, culminated this week in the Arabian Sea. The exercise was conducted across the expanse of the Indian Ocean region over a period of 4 months. The Indian Navy said TROPEX exercise witnessed participation of approximately 70 Indian Navy ships, 6 submarines and over 75 aircrafts. As part of the final joint phase, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spent a day at sea on board the newly commissioned indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant on the 6th of this month. He reviewed the Indian Navy's operational preparedness, wherein the Navy demonstrated operational maneuvers and various facets of combat operations. According to the Defence Ministry, this exercise provides an opportunity to test the combat readiness of the combined fleet of the Indian Navy to operate in a multi-threat environment. The maritime exercise also facilitates operational level interaction with the Indian Army, Indian Air Force and the Coast Guard. The Indian government has said that Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 will apply to trade in cryptocurrencies or virtual assets. In a notification, the Ministry of Finance said that the exchange between virtual digital assets and fiat currencies, the exchange between one or more forms of virtual digital assets and the transfer of virtual digital assets will be covered under Money Laundering Act. Besides, the safekeeping or administration of virtual digital assets and participation in financial services related to the offer and sale of virtual digital assets will also come under the purview of the Act. Nepali Congress senior leader Ramchandra Paudel has been elected as the new president of Nepal on Thursday. The president is elected by an electoral college consisting of the members of the Federal Parliament, House of Representatives and the National Assembly and the Provincial Assembly. A total of 313 members of the Federal Parliament and 518 Provincial Assembly members took part in the vote. The vote weightage of the Federal MP is 79 and of the Provincial Assembly member is 48. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Paudel, was a joint candidate of CPN Maoist Centre, CPN Unified Socialist, Janata Samajwadi Party Nepal, Loktantrik Samajwadi Party Nepal, Janmat Party, Nagarik Unmukti Party, Rashtriya Jan Morcha and Nepal Samajwadi Party along with his party, the Nepali Congress. More from our correspondent.
In the presidential election held today in Nepal, Ramchandra Paudel received 33,802 votes and his competitor Subhash Chandra Nemwang received 15,518 votes. Chief Election Commissioner of Nepal, Dinesh Kumar Thapalia, handed over the certificate of election today to Paudel at the Federal Parliament building in New Baneshwar. Ramchandra Paudel is elected as the third president of Nepal. 78-year-old Nepalese politician, born in the remote village of Satiswara located in Tanahun district of Western Nepal, has served as Deputy Prime Minister and Speaker of the House of Representatives of Nepal. He is the veteran leader of the Nepali Congress. Paudel was newly elected as the Member of Parliament in the general elections of 2022. He now served as the sixth-term parliamentarian of Nepal. He has Masters in Art in Nepali Literature and Shastri in Sanskrit Literature from Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu. Shweta Singh, World News, Kathmandu.
South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol will visit Japan from the 16th of March to the 17th of March at Tokyo's invitation, the first such visit in 12 years. Yoon's office said in a statement that Yoon will hold a summit meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, calling it an important milestone in the improvement and development of relations between South Korea and Japan. South Korea's Defense Ministry said on Tuesday it would work with Japan to enhance security cooperation, including trilateral relations with the United States. The two countries also agreed this week to negotiate to end export curbs on key electronic components. South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol said earlier this month that cooperation with the US and Japan has become more important than ever to overcome North Korea's growing nuclear threats and other crises. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission on Thursday arrested former Malaysian Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin on charges of corruption. Muhyiddin, who was the Prime Minister for 17 months between 2020 and 21, will be charged under laws related to abuse of power and money laundering. The ex-Premier and his party have faced graft investigations since losing to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in November's election. Prime Minister Ibrahim last year ordered a review of government projects worth billions of dollars approved by Muhyiddin, including COVID-19 relief programs, alleging they did not follow proper procedures. However, Muhyiddin has denied the accusations, describing them as political vendetta. Muhyiddin, who is also the president of Bersatu, a leading opposition party in Malaysia's ruling coalition, would be the second former prime minister to be charged. He follows Najib Razak, who is serving a 12-year jail term for corruption. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina conferred National Film Awards 2021 at Bangabandhu International Conference Centre in Dhaka on Thursday. The awards were distributed to winners in 27 categories. Eminent artists Dolly Jahur and Elias Kanchan were honoured with the Lifetime Achievement Award for their contribution to the film industry in Bangladesh. Dolly Jahur is a film, television and stage actress. Earlier, she received the Bangladesh National Film Award for Best Actress for the film Shonkhonil Karagar and Best Supporting Actress for Ghani. Elias Kanchan has worked in over 300 films. He won a national award for his role in the film Parinita, directed by Alamgir Kabir in 1986. He was awarded with the second highest civilian award in Bangladesh, Ekushe Padak, in 2018. Laal Morojer Juti, Call of the Red Rooster and Nona Joler Khabo, The Salt in Our Waters jointly won the award in the Best Film category. Dor won the award in the Best Short Film category, while Bodo Bhumite Ek Din got the award for the Best Documentary Film. Rizwan Shahryar Sumit got the award for Best Director for the film Nona Joler Khabo. Siam Ahmed received the Best Actor award for his role in Mridha Bonam Mridha and Mir Shabir Mahmood for Rat Jaga Phool. The ambassadors of the 7 European Union countries held a meeting with Bangladesh Minister of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Anisul Haq, in Dhaka on Thursday to discuss issues like the controversial Digital Security Act, Draft Data Protection Act, freedom of religion, among others. The European Union ambassadors from Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Spain and France were led by the head of the EU mission in Bangladesh, Charles Whitley. The law minister told the delegation that the next election will be participatory, free and neutral. Anisul Haq told the ambassadors that the government wanted all political parties to participate in it. He said the government will abide by the constitution over the next general election. He also denied any foreign pressure on Bangladesh relating to the elections scheduled to be held by the year end or early January next year. Colombia has opened military service to women for the first time in 25 years. A cohort of 1,296 women have been enlisted in Colombia's army last month. Colombia has long had compulsory military service for men aged between 18 and 24. The army relies heavily on those young recruits to staff bases, protect infrastructure, and carry out administrative tasks, while its professional soldiers confront drug trafficking gangs and rebel groups. This year, officials allowed females in the same age range to voluntarily join the military in what the army says is part of an effort to strengthen the role of women in its ranks. Colombia's army has around 2 lakh soldiers, around 1% are women, who until now joined after attending military universities or applying for administrative jobs. Every year, the South American country drafts around 50,000 men into the armed forces for 12 months of compulsory military service. The European Union's Climate Monitoring Service, Copernicus Climate Change Service, C3S, has said that sea ice in Antarctica shrank to the smallest area on record in February for the second year in a row, continuing a decade-long decline. It said on the 16th of February, the ocean surface covered by ice around the frozen continent shrank to 2.09 million square kilometers, the lowest level since satellite record began. A C3S official said Antarctic sea ice reached its lowest extent in the 45-year satellite data record. U.S. government scientists confirmed a new record last month, but indicated an even lower figure of 1.79 million square kilometers. C3S attributed the difference to different sea ice retrieval algorithms. Sea ice concentrations during the southern hemisphere summer were well below average in all sectors of the Southern Ocean. Startlingly, the record lows this year and in 2022 are about 30% below the 1981 to 2010 average. C3S said these low sea ice conditions may have important implications for the stability of Antarctic ice shelves and ultimately for global sea level rise. And now it's time for business news, a report.
The Sensex declined 542 points or 0.90% to end at 59,806. The Nifty fell 165 points or 0.93% to settle at 17,590. In the global markets, most Asian shares ended lower. So China's Shanghai Composite Index shed 0.2%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index declined 0.6%, South Korea's Kospi dropped 0.5%, and Singapore's Straits Times Index lost 0.4%. However, Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 0.6%. In Europe, in intraday trade, London's FTSE 100 slipped 0.7%, while France's CAC 40 and Germany's DAX traded 0.4% down each. Oil prices held steady as fears over the economic impact of rising interest rates offset a surprise drop in U.S. crude inventories and hopes for Chinese demand. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at around $82.80 per barrel. Back home, gold prices at the multi-commodity exchange for April contracts was trading at around 55,000 rupees per 10 grams. Silver was trading around 62,000 rupees per kilogram for May contracts. S. Rangabashyam for World News.
Russia launched missile strikes on Thursday across Ukraine, killing at least 6 civilians, knocking out electricity and forcing a nuclear power plant off the grid. Russia's defense ministry said it had carried out a massive retaliatory strike on Ukrainian infrastructure as payback for a cross-border raid last week on a village in Russia's Bryansk region. Ukraine said the attack had knocked out power supply to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, severing it from the Ukrainian grid and forcing it onto emergency diesel power to prevent a meltdown. UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi appealed for a protection zone around the plant. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said 40% of consumers in Kyiv were left without heat. The governor of Odessa region, Maxim Marchenko, said a mass missile attack had hit an energy facility, cutting power. Kharkiv region governor Oleh Senibov said the city and region had been hit by 15 strikes. Kyiv, the Black Sea port of Odessa, and the second largest city, Kharkiv, were all hit as missiles targeted a wide arc of targets stretching from Zhytomyr, Vinnytsia and Rivne in the west to Dnipro and Poltava in central Ukraine. In cricket, having opted to bat, Australia were 255 for 4 at stumps against India on day 1 of the ongoing fourth and final test of Border Gavaskar Trophy at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad on Thursday. Opener Usman Khawaja and Cameron Green were batting on 104 and 49 respectively at the close of play. After skipper Steve Smith opted to bat, Australia were off to a good start with the duo of Khawaja and Travis Head adding 61 runs for the first wicket. R. Ashwin gave India their first breakthrough when he dismissed a positive-looking head for 32. Bangladesh scored an emphatic win against England in their first T20 international match played at Zahoor Ahmad Chaudhary Stadium at Chattogram. The host team displayed a sparkling performance in all aspects of the game to gain an edge in the 3-match T20 series against England. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, Georgia drops bill on foreign agents after 2 nights of violent protests. The Washington Post reports Israel's military joins nationwide protests over judicial overhaul. The Globe and Mail reports Canada rejected a visa for Chinese diplomat on foreign interference grounds. Financial Times writes European Union unveils green subsidy scheme to fend off competition from US. And South China Morning Post says South Korea breaks China's dominance in February to steal number 1 spot for global ship orders. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India and Australia to further boost comprehensive strategic partnership. Prime Minister Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese to hold bilateral talks in New Delhi on Friday. Sri Lanka's Foreign Affairs Minister Ali Sabri says India and Sri Lanka working on improving cooperation in connectivity, tourism and investments. NISA, the largest ever advanced radar system jointly developed by NASA and ISRO, reaches Bengaluru. Senior Nepali Congress leader Ramchandra Paudal elected as new president of Nepal. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to visit Japan for summit, the first such visit in 12 years. Malaysia's former Prime Minister Muhyiddin arrested on corruption charges. And Australia scored 255 for 4 at stumps on day 1 in first innings against India in the fourth and final test of Border Gavaskar Cricket Trophy in Ahmedabad. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Kuwait.
वैष्णव जन तो दीने कहिए जे बीध पराई जानी रे वैष्णव जन तो दीने कहिए जे बीध पराई जानी रे बरदू के खूब कार करे तो ये मन अभिमान
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.